Hey, let me do a quick check-in with Trnt LeBlanc. We're at, is it 85%? 85% of the book, so we're definitely getting kind of the climactic thing at the end. Trnt has been busy conquering away at stuff in the Barbary Coast region, converting tons of people, Muslims, to Christianity, and has heard that Constantinople is in trouble. Indeed, it's in serious trouble, that the Turk and the Sultan have basically conquered all of the land that Trnt conquered for the emperor, and it's also he's conquered like even more of that. So like there's basically the city is left and a few other things, but it is being laid siege to at the moment by the Muslims, and Trnt is now has mustered forces, and there's a lot of this is mustering forces to culling in all the chips. The King of Sicily is going to come, France, Italy, like tons of people from all over the place are coming to do it. And of course, everyone's super happy to do it. When Trnt asks, they just say, "Oh yes, we're going to do it." Versus, probably all the actual like, I'll kick in a couple of troops. It's like, no, you got to kick in more, or what do I get out of it? It's like there's none of that. This is all kind of good Christians defending another Christian ruler, which we know is far more complicated than that. Especially when you get something like the Genoese, who did trading with the Muslims, and which is the reason why there was that great influx of wealth into Italy, and also great influx of Arabic translations of lost works of kind of the Greeks and the Romans that got brought back into Italy and then translated, because they had the money to translate it from all that trading with the Muslims. That isn't really in the book, but interesting little side note of exactly. It's a little more complicated than infidels and Christians. It's so yes, Trnt has gathered up his forces, and they're going forward to yet another battle. It's interesting. We kind of alternate between what seems, sometimes you go like, oh God, they're having another romance thing, when there's all this kind of death and destruction of like great clashes of the Turkish Empire, of Muslims with the Christians, happening, and it's like, but Trnt is and the princess are just busy kind of having a love affair, and he breaks his leg so he can't go to battle. But it's like, no, we seem to be back into the focus now, which in some ways is like, that's okay, but it's like ambassadors say this and that, where actually the kind of the lovey-dovey nonsense is actually the stuff that's probably the most engaging there, though, as I said, like, very idealized of how these good Christian nations are going to all work together. And it's not about jockeying for position or spoils, or, all the things that aren't, maybe it shouldn't be the focus of Christians in this. So yeah, that's my check-in this time. I'm on chapter 12, I think, of Trnt LeBlanc, and it is repetitious, and there's a lot of kind of repetitions of like, and Trnt was very pleased, or the emperor was very pleased, and like, and then they came here, and then they announced themselves, and then there's a lot of repetition, but in some ways reading out loud again is a good thing, because you get that kind of like, this is something that was probably meant to be read out loud, and it's got a lot of those kind of redundancies that you get in oral tradition books, even though this isn't oral, but it very, very much has this kind of like rhythm and cadence of like, this probably was meant to be read out loud. So yeah, that's Trnt LeBlanc for this check-in. More videos later. I'm done.